Now, last night, I had the opportunity to meet Taquisha McKitty. She's the 27-year-old Brampton woman who was declared brain dead on September 20th, and yet who remains hooked up to a ventilator here at Brampton Civic Hospital. I wanted to see with my own eyes what her family was seeing and why they believe she's still alive, despite evidence and testimony from several physicians in the medical community that would indicate the contrary. So I wanted to see with my own eyes her movements and what prompted them, and we're going to share that with you. But first, a warning: some viewers may find this video disturbing.
Taquisha, can you move for us, please?
When I visited Taquisha, this is very much how she looked. Sprawled out, looking somewhat comfortable, but hooked up to a series of machines. She was still, but as I recounted immediately after leaving the hospital, that quickly changed. When we walked in, her father touched her leg and spoke to her, and she immediately started responding. You saw her torso move, you saw her legs move, and that continued throughout our entire visit. She was moving the entire time, or at least whenever she was being spoken to. I mean, that's a pretty far distance that she's moving her legs.
Yeah. Relax, don't fight too hard. Take your energy.
You can see that she moved repeatedly when touched, and she seemed to reposition herself into more comfortable spots. Physicians say that this movement is simply a spinal cord reflex, but her family, who have kept a 24-hour watch since she was first admitted on September 14th, can't accept that.
If it's death, then the body should be dead, or maybe, you know, what we see and what we've seen from day one. We cannot accept that. We cannot accept that a living person or a living body is being called a dead person. We can't accept this concept.
But the medical diagnosis may not be as important to keeping Taquisha in hospital as before. At issue now is religious freedom.
What we're effectively trying to do in this case and in another case is to effectively determine if the definition of death can be changed to include, in the case of person with particular religious beliefs, that those beliefs be accommodated so that death will not simply be based on neurological criteria, but will involve things like the stopping of breathing and the stopping of the heartbeat, which is consistent with those religious beliefs.
And Taquisha is a Christian.
We've always known that the soul is what animates the body. We're very clear. Genesis 1:27-26, Genesis 2:7 tells us very clearly that God breathed life into man and man became a living soul. So the church and the Judeo-Christian foundation of our platform understands that what life is. The law in Ontario hasn't been able to determine what life and death is.
Now, this case could redefine or even just define what it means to be legally dead in Ontario. Arguments are expected to begin on November 30th. In the meantime, Taquisha will remain here, hooked up to a ventilator, meaning she'll have been brain dead for more than 2 months before a decision is rendered. And you can head to citynews.ca for more videos of Taquisha and my impression of our encounter.